Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports Sleeper Fantasy. We are breaking down the NBA. What a night it was, the lottery. We got a playoff game tonight, playoff games every night now. Brian versus the books. Brad, boys, we weren't on yesterday. I guess we were going to discuss, and we could talk about it now. Where did you want Wembanyama to go? What are your takeaways here, the fallout here from the lottery, with Detroit moving down to 5? Sorry, NJC. Portland moving up to 3, which we'll get to. Take it wherever way you want to go here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll take it. Okay, go ahead, Brian.
no, I was gonna say was I was gonna do a stupid shot about your luck with the Magic, but am I wrong just to say like my one thing would be it would have been really fun to see Wembanyama go to the Hornets. I think that would have been I think a lot of people wanted to see that, but I think he gets a great coach, which is going to be a big factor in
Yeah,
making that transition.
I agree. I wanted him to go to the Magic, but I thought the Spurs was probably the best fit in terms of longevity of his career. Like, does anybody really want a guy who's supposed to be a generational talent to be a bust? Like, no one ever wants that. At least I don't. I'm not that kind of person. And I think that the likelihood of him becoming a bust lessens when he's with Greg Popovich. However long he gets to play with Greg Popovich, I think that it's just been proven. David Robinson, Tim Duncan. Now, if he goes to the Rockets, no idea. Anything could happen. He goes to the Hornets, he could be out of the league in 2 years, But I think he has a better foundation learning from Greg Popovich.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, with San Antonio winning the Duncan lottery, and you guys are probably too young to remember that. I'm sure you are, but I felt like San Antonio didn't give somebody else a chance. This kid's going to be that good. Give somebody else a generational talent. But look, I mean, I thought Orlando would have been fun. OKC had really long odds. That would have been a freaking dynasty.
That'd have been
You can have a
nuts.
conversation. Somebody, Joey Knish on Twitter brought this up. If you're the Spurs, if somebody in OKC says, "Hey, we got all these picks, we got Chet, we got Giddy, SGA, we got all this stuff. Will you take it for Wembanyama?" Do you at least have to think about it? I thought that was interesting, but I think the more interesting thing here, the most interesting thing, besides Wembanyama, is Portland moving to 3, and it makes sense. We've just seen the reports now that they're going to try to shop the pick to get Lillard help and give Lillard one last push at, gotta say, winning a championship, although I don't think that's realistic. What are some trade options? I proposed one to you guys before the show. I'm curious what you think. If you guys have any other options, Mikal Bridges. If you're the Nets, do you do that? If you're the Blazers, do you do that? Do you have any other options here, Brad? You go first about what the third pick could fetch you.
Listen, I think they could package the pick. If they're in win now mode, I would take a shot and I would call Washington and say, we will dangle the third and Anthony Simons for Bradley Beal.
I would fire you. You're fired. I don't even work for the Wizards, and I would fire you. No, thank you.
What do you think it would take for them to get Bradley Beal?
Though. I feel like you'd be too small.
Yeah,
What do you think it would take? Because I mean, they have to get another superstar.
yeah.
Pascal Siakam.
I don't think Beal's that though. I just don't think Beal's at that level.
I'm just waiting.
We're talking for Pascal Siakam.
We're talking about all these trade destinations. I mean, I'm still waiting for OG Anunoby to get traded before 2023. I feel like he's been on the trading block since his rookie year. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where we were talking about earlier where Damian Lillard's so trusted to he wants to stay loyal, this and that, and wants to win. But that team is just not really built for it right now. And it's so interesting that if Dame wants to compete, the best case scenario is him to get moved to an established team. How often have you seen a team go from where the Blazers are right now to a championship contender in an offseason? It doesn't happen.
Especially just by getting one player.
Yeah, it doesn't really happen. So it's really interesting to see what they do with that pick because they have value. They have value there. I mean, people would want that pick, but I don't know what they're going to be able to do to completely do a 180 in 14 days.
What player that could be on the move do you think would make them better though? Like that's my biggest problem is
I like Bridges. Bridges would make them better. Does he make them a title team? No. Does he even make them a conference final team? Probably not. But if you have Lillard and then look, Bridges to me is 24, 25. He's a legit all-star. He defends. He can shoot the three. I would probably think about that I think it's fair for both teams. I don't know who says no to that deal. Again, a lot of this comes down to what do you think of the third pick and what do you think of Scoot or Miller? I don't have that information. I'm not like a draft expert, but I think Bridges is a fair deal. Not that makes him a title contender, but that at least makes you interesting.
Yeah, I'm with that. I'm a big fan of Mikal Bridges, but I just don't know if the Nets will move him twice in the same calendar year. But that's more of on them because I mean we saw it in the playoffs too. Where how far is that team going to go? Mikal Bridges is still young. That's going to be interesting because I think there's a lot of teams that could make deals, and it's going to be a matter of who actually is going to take that risk.
But they got all those picks from the Suns. If you start piling, hey, we got the third pick, we got a million picks from the Suns, you could start to put yourself in a situation where you're a little bit like OKC, where you just have a million picks here and you can build through the draft. You can pivot and trade for stars if you want. You can just sort of do whatever you want and go forward that way. So I think Bridges is the interesting guy. Any other names you guys would throw out there?
I think who's actually realistically available.
Do you want me to throw the other one? Would you do?
I don't see. I will say this.
Nobody knows what we're talking about, so I'll throw it out there.
Yeah.
The third pick in the draft, we'll say Simons. We'll say Sharp, who they took, 6th or 7th last year. 3 or 4 number 1 picks for Joel Embiid, the most valuable player in the league, Joel Embiid. Would you do that?
I'll say this. I would love Dame and Joel to be a pairing because I think it'd be so fun to watch. But I was hoping maybe it'd be in Philly. But it's one of those things where it's like, do you guys watch the movie Hustle and where they make that thing where it's like, oh, trying to package Joel for this? I just think he's one of those guys where if you're going to trade him, I mean, Harden's likely gone and it would be completely retooling, which would be like, that's a drastic move. Not saying I'm against it or for it, but if they're the Blazers, I think if you can make that deal, you do it. But I don't know if the Sixers will do it. That's my thing. I don't know. It's one of those things where how would like the city of Philadelphia is really understanding and they really have level heads for them.
That's a lie.
Yeah, exactly. And that's my point is that's my point. If you're Morey, it's one of those things where it's like, can you really, do you have like the balls to do it? And that's where it comes down to.
Right. Because that's a long, painful rebuild after the process and a long, painful rebuild a few years ago. You're back to square one. Yeah. And again, it comes back to what do you think of Scoot? What do you think of Miller? I don't have NBA draft odds here. I saw them floating around yesterday. It's really frustrating not being able to check the NBA draft odds and everything with Powell last year. I think these books are going to be tended to hang numbers, but it's basically a coin flip. Obviously, Wembanyama's 1, coin flip between Scoot and Miller 2, coin flip between Scoot and Miller for 3. Then there's a drop off. I thought about taking a shot. I thought Scoot was I saw Scoot was 50-1 to go 4th overall. If Miller goes 2, all it takes is one team to not pick Scoot at 3, and all of a sudden he's sitting there at 4. I don't know if you guys have draft odds. You guys have any thoughts about?
I'm in PA, so I don't get shit here. So
I just don't think that. I think the drop off between 1 through 3 is a lot greater than taking a shot there. Like, I don't think. Do you have draft odds? I can't find them, but I don't think. Oh, here we go. I don't think Scoot just falls.
Yeah.
But if Portland can't make the pick, I mean, Scoot is small, right? So you're gonna put another small player with.
I get what you're saying. If they can't, that's tough.
And then, but Charlotte, I mean, LaMelo's not that small. But if Scoot's not a good defender and LaMelo's not a good defender, you're gonna put both of them together. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's so funny too with basketball because the NBA draft lottery, of course, it helps prevent the whole tanking situation and this and that. But it's so crazy how the way the system works, it changes the entire outcome / trajectory of teams and franchises. Like, it's so crazy to think that you were sitting there and it's like, okay, we're either the Spurs and we can make a run for it, or we can try to retool, do this, or we're the Spurs and we are in 3 more years of poverty. So it's so crazy to think how drastic these things can go, especially when you're an owner that's audibly screaming in front of 3 other people that are just that was such a funny clip of him just going up, shaking hands, all excited. And
it's like a game show. You either win $1 million, the other people sit there, watch you celebrate, and you go home with a pencil or something. I mean, it's just there's such a gap between winning it and not winning it. You feel bad for it. I mean, to fall down to 5th, that's just,
my God,
that's brutal. You don't even get the 2 or the 3, all the way down to 5. That is
how many games did they win? What, 17?
I think they were 3 clear of the second worst team too. They were the worst God. They were putting out some lineups that were just guys you never even heard of. And man,
yeah, poor Pistons fans. You didn't even get a chance to sweat it out before the commercial break. You're like, that was rough.
I sweat harder than the Pistons fans as a Magic fan.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, you didn't even make it past. You didn't even get a chance to be let down, really.
After the lottery, we got a great game. We'll move to the games. The game last night and the game tonight. We'll go to Nuggets Lakers. I think you can look at this one of 2 ways. If you're the Lakers, you say, you know what, Denver just made every shot. It's unsustainable. Hit 1 million threes, 1 billion mid range,
and game 1.
They're not going to do that again. But if you're Denver, you say, you know what, AD and LeBron were rested. AD played great. LeBron played really well,
fantastic.
and he still didn't win. And hey, You only got to win 4 of these, and we got 1 in the bank. What
Yeah.
side do you guys sort of fall on here? Lakers, Nuggets. What was a fun game 1? Brad, you can go first.
I'll go with Denver because Denver had everything happen in that game where they started out blazing hot. They were hitting everything. And then they took a pretty big punch in the mouth by the Lakers in that run. And then they held on. Like that, they faced adversity. And like you said, they won a game. No matter how gross or how beautiful it is, all it matters is you win 4 of those things to move on to the next round.
Yeah, and how about, I don't know about you guys, but did anybody else kind of feel there was a point where the Lakers got it within 3 with like 4 minutes left? I was kind of in the thing where I was like, is this gonna happen? Kind of like teetering.
I never thought they were gonna win. When LeBron,
but I'm not saying think you're gonna win.
Yeah.
I'm just saying you had to have that little bit where you're like, oh, like it really did shift, because I mean I had them plus 10.5, and I was kind of like wondering what was gonna happen. But yeah, that was a fun ending. But I think it was big. Weirdly enough, Aaron Gordon made a big play where out of the timeout, I think they ran a play at the elbow. Jokic didn't hit the shot, but Gordon did when it was a 3-point game. He only made 1 of the free throws, but that was a big play for a guy that sat most of the 4th quarter for Aaron Gordon. So, and then after that, they just ran away with it.
Well, I thought the Lakers got a rough whistle too, like that weird play where Davis.
Yeah,
was
they did
around
a
with
really
the ball.
rough one.
I thought that was a jump ball. I thought Jokic got away with a lot of contact defensively. They just let him do whatever he wanted. Usually, you get a jump ball. Like when you're rolling around on the floor, I thought they'd either give Davis a timeout or call a jump ball, and it ends up with a dunk the other way. So,
and I think there was 1 or 2 as well where they called it on the floor on Lakers possessions where it looked like 100% they were going to the rim, and it was just like a little weird. But yeah, I think I agree with Brad there where the Nuggets did face adversity and they did pull it out. But I bet you this, like I saw it earlier today, I had to check the odds, but on FanDuel this morning, the Lakers plus 1.5 in the series was plus 100. And that feels like it's one of those things where it goes both ways. But yeah, the Lakers, you talk about facing adversity, they were down 20 and they made a good run. So I think they made such good adjustments there. I don't know if I'm going to have a bet in the series, but my friend's a Lakers fan, and I kind of said that all I said was, if you're a Lakers fan, I wouldn't be, like depressed yet. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be like selling out in the series yet. It's like we saw it multiple times. Game 1's just what it is. There's still 6 more left, but they definitely came back and looked a lot better in that second half.
Who did you guys think was going to win this series, and how many games, and who do you think is going to win now?
I had Denver. I just didn't agree with that price. I remember what we talked about. I told you guys that that price just didn't make any sense to me. I still think Denver wins this series. Like,
how many games?
6.
Okay, it's not unreasonable.
That's what the Corgi has, right? The Corgi, that dog has Denver in 6.
I haven't watched the dog videos. I've just heard about
dog.
Fuck that dog. Yeah, I will say I'm tempted to take the Lakers plus 1.5 because I didn't have a winner in the series. I just kind of thought it was going to go 6 or 7. And now
they're plus 1.5 now on the series price.
Yeah, the Lakers are plus 1.5 at like even money.
It's not crazy though. Think about it. Who's going to win?
That's not crazy at all.
Who's going to win tomorrow? If Denver's up 2-0, are you going to get to a game 7 if you're Lakers? Maybe, but I think and you could say this about a lot of games, a lot of series. I think whoever wins game 2 wins the series. If the Lakers get it to 1-1, I think they're in good shape. If the Nuggets get to 2-0, I think it's going to be hard to beat that team 4-5. So
I think one of the big things too is, what did Jokic have? Was it 21 rebounds?
900 points, 900 assists, and 900 rebounds.
But like, here's my thing. Like, I think he finished 21 rebounds. I think 21. So like, this is like weirdly, as weird as it sounds, talk about the Lakers making adjustments. That first quarter, he had 12, and how many times did Anthony Davis leave the block to contest shots where Jokic, I think, got 6 offensive rebounds in the first quarter, just solely because when Anthony Davis leaves that block, they have no one else with depth. You have like Dennis Schroeder down there trying to like fill in gaps. With Rue playing, like, I'm not saying they stopped Jokic at all. He destroyed them all game, but that just the idea that they cut down on the offensive rebounds is like, how many more points are they going to get off like free boards like that? Like, that's what I mean. Like, I think the Lakers did a good job, and I think there's a case to take them plus 1.5. But as you guys said, it's kind of just one of those things where I have such a hard time putting money on series bets that I just feel like this is just going to be so fun to watch.
Yeah. It's like, even like, I didn't bet the side yesterday. Well, I did a stupid parlay with the Nuggets to win, so like I'm fine with that. But like, I was telling my fiance, I was like, I don't want to take any more sides. Like, I'm down root for props. I just want this to be good 7 games, like back and forth action.
Yeah. I was actually I was on Anthony Davis yesterday and I was mad. Have you guys ever done this like for playoffs? If you're on a prop, he hit it easily and he just kept scoring. And I was like,
Yes.
dude,
I was
I was
so
like,
mad. Me too.
I was like, dude, stop.
So
Don't,
mad.
because I was like, they're going to open you like 25 and a half now.
Yeah.
Can you calm
Well,
down?
not just that, Matt. I didn't bet more. Matt, I didn't ladder it. I did like
Yeah.
30 points on a Lakers win. Figured if the Lakers are going to win, and it was like 7-1 or something. I don't think
Because
I
I
didn't
took
give
his
it out,
points
but
yesterday and I almost took, well, that's the other thing. I almost took his series average points and I was like, oh, that's stupid. Like, I don't like that bet idea. And then he kept scoring. And I was like, fuck, I should have bet his series average because 40 is going to help a lot right there.
it's funny. I gave out over 223 as soon as game one ended. People are like, oh, where is that DraftKings? Literally within 30 seconds, it's 225. It's now up to 227 at DraftKings. I don't know about 227. I think you're pushing it, but
Yeah.
I mean, that game was just insane yesterday. Here's the thing. Here's the hope for the Lakers. Denver does not have an answer for LeBron. Murray,
No.
these guys, there's a lot of weak defenders. Jokic, there's a lot of weak defenders that LA. And when you have a LeBron team, LeBron's going to attack. He's going to identify and attack weak defenders relentlessly, and there's a lot of them for Denver. So LA is going to get good shots here.
I was kind of laughing how they were like doing that shadowing with Jokic, and then like LeBron just like, okay, here you go, AD, free dunk every time. It was killing me.
He had one sick pass too, where it was kind of like a no look, and AD had the reverse dunk. That was a great pass.
I think it's one of those things too, where if you like different brands of basketball, your playoff experience is going to alternate each day. If you're like a hardcore like defensive, love the grind of the playoffs, you're gonna love the game tonight because you're gonna see a lot of these like 102 to 101 whatever. But this Western Conference Finals we saw yesterday, it was such an open. It looked like a YMCA game at some times where it literally looked like there was times where the transition defense and this and that. It was kind of just like, hey, hurry up and score so we can play offense on the other end. That's what it looked like a lot of that game. So if you like offense, this series looks, by all means, it's going to be a lot of open play and just one-on-one coverages and a lot of points.
And the Lakers transition D was awful. I didn't think they played bad D in the half court. Denver just hit a million shots, tough shots too. Some prayers.
Crazy.
I mean, you have. That's why I told my brother I was watching the game. I was like, if you have Caldwell Pope hitting contested threes on the regular, it's gonna be a bad day for you as a Lakers team trying to get back in this game because it's like those are the guys you want to take those tough shots. And Jeff Green hit a three.
Jokic, I think, was 3 for 3 on him.
Yeah,
there was a bunch of just prayers, absolute prayers.
So I think that's my thing with we talked about trying to figure out how to bet this series. As you said, depending how you look at the series, I think you can be very high on the Lakers for that exact reasons. Like, oh, are they gonna hit the shots again? But you can be very high on the Nuggets. And I think in that case, I'd rather just watch it, bet on props, and just root for good basketball.
Goldboys Live, Pickett Sports, Sleeper Fantasy app. All right, before we move on to the Eastern Conference, what would be a bet here? Lakers are getting 5.5 in game 2. Lakers are plus 220 for the series, total 226.5. Anything you'd bet? You have to bet one of them. Let's put it that way. You have to bet something. What are you betting?
I have mine. I would take the Lakers plus 1.5. And
plus 1.5 games, you're saying?
Yeah, 1.5 games. And what I was saying is we mentioned it last show, but the big thing I will mention is that these games open so early because there's only 2 games left. So it's almost like have a plan before the game and get on the lines early. Because I would have probably taken the Lakers because MGM opened them at 7. Like that's my thing. Like plus 7 and plus 5.5 is so different in these games.
Saw it yesterday. If you bet the side, you should have won. There was 5.5 on Denver. There was 6.
Or at the very least, you should have. If you were smart, at the very least, you pushed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what happens too? These games end so late. These games end midnight on the East Coast. The bookmakers, the people that are working the shifts, it's not the varsity. So they open up stupid lines. Like 223 was a stupid line. It's 2 or 3 points too low. Like we see it all the time. We see it. Like the Warriors are down 3-1 against the Lakers. That line's going to go to 7. It opens like 4.5, then 5. Like you see the JV varsity, the JV bookmakers too, I think is a factor. But Brad, what were we going to say? What would be your bet here?
Probably just take the over. I think we see a ton of points. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy though, because like I get what Brian was saying. Like you get in line, you want to take it, like take your bet early, but like I just feel, and it could be because I handicap so many different sports, but I just feel like I want to get settled into my chair. Like I want it to be the day of. I don't want any last minute nonsense to happen. Then I want to bet on the game. It's kind of weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, I get that, but I think if you have an idea where the line's going to move, you can get some good numbers.
True. Especially if you want to play both sides, like
yes,
with the way these markets have been going with these playoffs, like you could get some pretty good middle opportunities.
Yep. Philly Boston game 7 opened 205. It was there for a minute, got down to 201, 200. You could have played both sides, and and done pretty well thanks to our boy Springer, who hit the shot to make it 200 at the end. What's that guy's name? Jaden Springer or something?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
blue coach legend right there.
Would you throw him in a deal for Dame?
Probably he's one of those guys where he's super exciting, but yeah, I mean the Sixers haven't really.
It was a joke. I was just.
I
kidding.
know, but I'm just saying, like he's actually really like a fan favorite. Him and Paul Reed in Philadelphia, but it's one of those guys where
B-ball
it's
Paul.
like it's cool to love him, but it's also like, all right, guys, let's get realistic here.
All right, Celtics Heat. Celtics up to now -$5 on the series price. 8. There's some 8.5s for the spread tonight. I think this is too many points. I have a weird contrasting sort of take on this. I think the 8.5 is too many. I think teams off of 7-game series don't do well in game ones. So I'll take the Heat plus the points. But I also bet Boston plus 450. That number's down to like 400 most places. I bet Boston to sweep plus 450 just because I don't think Butler's healthy. I could see these games being close, but I think Boston gets both of them at home. And hey, if you win game 3, you're favored in game 4. So I think it's too many points tonight, but I do think Boston wins in a short series. That being said, they play down to their competition. Heat play up to their competition. I know all of the risk here in taking that. I'm curious what you guys think. Brian, you could start. What are your takeaways here? The game, the series, Celtics and Heat.
Yeah, I agree with you there too, where you mentioned games 7 coming into the series, where I can see a lot of people that I know or that I follow are on the Heat plus 8.5. It's really tempting because 8.5 is a lot of points, but I don't know. I don't know if I love that because I do think Boston's just a much better team. The one play I know that Brad posted about the Jaylen Brown turnovers. The one thing I want to look at is
I did Marcus Smart.
Oh, you did Marcus Smart. Sorry, I was gonna say I meant to say you did Marcus Smart. I was gonna say the opposite of that.
You like Jaylen Brown?
I was gonna Jaylen Brown's points. I think this is a big Jaylen Brown series in terms of. So I think he's gonna be the difference maker because he didn't really do much in the Philly series. I mean, he was putting up like 23 points a game, but it did just seem like there was times he just disappeared. But I think Jaylen Brown's against the Heat this season against the Heat in 3 games. He shot 56%. He scored 27 or more points in all the games. I think with Butler focusing on Tatum a lot, you get Strauss, you get Gabe Vincent, you get Kyle Lowry, all these guys where who do you think truly can stop Jaylen Brown? I think they're gonna win, and I think there's even there's gonna be some markets to attack Jaylen Brown. So I'm looking at him for 25 points tonight, and maybe I think his series MVP or whatever is like plus 350. I think he's gonna be that guy in the series that kind of like helps Boston a lot more than people give him credit for.
I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking something similar along those lines where Jaylen Brown technically had a tougher defensive matchup in the last matchup than he's going 100%. To in this one.
Yeah.
And I was like, outside of Butler on Tatum, which is what we're thinking they're going to cover, right?
I would think so.
Who's stopping Jaylen Brown?
Yeah, I mean the rotating guards so I did it with Brunson last series, and I did it with I've tagged 2 guards now in these series. Ever since Tyler Hero's been hurt, the rotating guard play of the Miami Heat is very beatable. So I think Jaylen Brown, I just think he stacks up so well against this team, and I think he has a great series. So I think he's the guy I'm going to be looking at tonight.
I like Butler under 27.5 points, even money at DraftKings. I just don't think he's been healthy since the ankle. I think the Knicks made a big mistake doubling him as much as they did. He clearly wasn't the same player as he was against the Bucks, and if he's not going to just live at the free throw line, it's going to be hard for him to score. It's going to be hard for Miami to score. That's kind of the reason I like Boston in a short series. What do you guys think? Butler points here at 27.5.
I definitely lean under there. But
Butler's just such a guy where for me it's so frustrating to bet for or against him. It's just
been going under a lot ever since that ankle. He's been going under a lot. He had 12 shot attempts in game 5 against the Knicks. He ended up with only 23 points, not good efficiency in game 6. He's not been the same player.
Yeah, that's true. That angle is really bothering him. If it's
not,
it's something in his head.
Time off now, though. He does have Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So he does have 4 days off. I don't know.
That doesn't mean anything though, because these guys are playing an NBA schedule.
Right.
They those 4 days help. When maybe you have a bruise.
Yeah. Well,
he's still playing on it.
That was the same thing where in the Phillies fans I'm with when they forced game 6 in Atlanta. We're like, oh, it gives Joel 2 more days, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but the guy's got a torn knee. It's the same thing with Jimmy Butler. It's it gives him some rest, but if he's really ailing, it's nice, but it's not going to solve a major injury because you get an extra 48 hours.
What do you guys got? Who wins the series? How many games? And we'll go through correct series score here, see if we can find a bet. But You guys want to give your
So-
guys want me to give the prices, or you guys want to give your predictions?
I know that
I'm gonna give my prediction.
The Heat
So-
are plus 2.5 at minus 135. I saw. I
Yeah,
know that's their series price.
You would take
I-
that?
I think ball. I don't know.
I
Brad,
would
you
take
go
Heat.
first.
I would take Heat plus 2.5, but I do think it's in 6. I think the
think
Celtics
6.
win this in 6. I think there's a chance they win it in 5, but there's no reason that I would want to doubt Miami, especially in Miami. Like, they've proven how tough it is to win there.
Wow, Celtics sweep is down to plus 360 at DK. It was plus 4. It opened plus 450. That was a good number I got. I'm excited for that one because I think Boston gets the first 2. I have some maneuverability. All right, I'll read them out here. Pickett Sports, Sleeper Fantasy, Goldboys Live here. Celtics in 5 plus 245. Celtics in 7 plus 360. Celtics in 6 plus 360. Celtics to sweep plus 360. Man, these are that's a weird. You got 3 of that are the exact same price. Then you get Miami to win in 6, 10-1. Miami to win in 7 is 12-1. It's not terrible. Miami in 5, 28-1. Miami to sweep, if you're feeling lucky, 45-1.
Could you
jump out to you,
imagine?
right?
Musala or whatever his name's have to get fired if that.
Isn't it so funny how that just like
He wouldn't even coach game 4 if they're down 3-0. I don't think.
No.
that's like such a
Game
juicy.
4.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, like 45-1, where that's it. But like that, even that feels like a bad price. Like like the
Right, if you
sweep
just did
is-
money line rollover and
Yeah,
I guess
I
you
will
could
say
hey,
this: if you
Tatum
like,
got hurt or
if you
something,
like
who
the
knows?
Heat to win it this series, I don't see why you wouldn't just take like I see plus 430 is the best price. Like I would just take that and then have them
Yeah.
win at any point. But yeah, I do think that this is a Celtics series. I mean, we saw it. There was times where they looked vulnerable against the Hawks and the Sixers, but I do think they're just like. Is there really a better roster like full on? I don't know if there is. Like they're just so good from that 1 to 8 man rotation where they don't really have
They
much
can
of
all
like a
defend it. They can
weakness.
all defend and they can all shoot. It's just 5 out. They
Yeah.
can all defend. They can all shoot. It's a
Yeah.
very modern team. I would.
I mean,
say.
you had Robert Williams coming off the bench for most of the playoffs, which is just
Right.
such a crazy thing. That's a luxury that is wonderful to have for any team.
Brogdon's a good player. White's a useful player. Horford's
Yeah.
got his nights.
Underrated move. Getting
yeah.
Brogdon was such a big move for them.
It
in the
was
very
offseason.
big.
It was.
Like, yeah, but I so you think 6? I could see 6. I would go
think
5.
6.
I got 4. Sweet brooms.
Bet it. You have to bet it now.
Oh, I already bet. I bet it's Sunday.
Okay,
Plus
cool,
450.
cool.
Yeah.
Plus 450.
I'll go
Yeah, but-
5. I think I think what Brad was saying is that the Heat are just one of those teams at home where I think they get 1, but I'm not as confident to bet it as Will is, so I'm going to sit this one out.
It's not that I'm confident. It's just I thought it was an egregious price. Not egregious price. I just thought
Yeah.
it was a little bit of an off price. At some point, Boston's just gonna. Did Philly scare them straight? Are they ever gonna get scared straight? Where it's like, all right, man, we can't dick around in game 1, dick around here against Atlanta. They did it.
2, and they
Really,
did
the
it.
last time
I think
they won
their-
a decent
I think
series
their
was Brooklyn
plan.
last year.
I think their plan was to get up 3-2 with Doc Rivers. That was their plan.
let him get a lead and overconfident.
They got the Sixers.
We got him right where we
want.
want him.
I mean, even Atlanta, they let win a couple games. Even Miami last year, like Miami wasn't good enough to take that to 7. And it's weird that this is now 3rd time in 4 years these teams have played in the conference finals. It's
This is
that's
this
unusual.
this is a fun nugget for anyone that was watching. Someone mentioned in the chat earlier asking about baseball. If anyone's watching day baseball, Rich Hill has opened up the game with 5 strikeouts in his first 24 pitches.
Wow, Rich Hill, throw it back,
Yeah.
baby. He's drinking out of the fountain of youth there.
What the
I
hell is
saw he
that?
was 4.5. His prop was 4.5 too, so he already cashed.
It's
That's,
2023 and Rich Hill is getting whiffs 4 or 5 in a row. That's crazy.
2 innings, 5 Ks. Does it count though? It's against the Tigers. I don't know if it counts.
The Tigers are the worst MLB team during day baseball. It's probably in Detroit, isn't it?
It is in
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yeah. Listen, having worked there for 2 years, I know all about it. Day baseball, middle of the day, middle of the week, they always get destroyed because there's 13 people in the stands and the team doesn't care about it.
I'm just throwing that out there because I am going to take a quarter unit on under 8.5 at plus 100. I just think it's fun. I think Rich Hill is one of those guys where the first time through the lineup, if you get fooled the second time, there's no excuse to get fooled again.
Anything else before we get out of here? Any
Yeah,
futures prices? Yeah, go ahead.
I have some plays and then I'll give my sleeper play. So I'll talk about my first play first. Marcus Smart over 2.5 turnovers, plus 110. Before I even looked up the actual numbers, I thought it was a play that I was going to be interested in. I ultimately became interested in it. Marcus Smart has hit this in every game this season that he played against the Heat. And large part has because how active the Heat are, jumping the passing lanes. Heat make the point guard commit the third most turnovers in the NBA. So at plus money, I'm pretty inclined to it. He only averages like 2.4 per game, but it's not really about the season average. It's about the team that he's playing. And then I'll give my sleeper. I have to actually pull that up. So give me 2 seconds. So anybody who's not playing sleeper, download the sleeper app, deposit up $100, get $100 match. I did that. The cash out is easy. I mean, the withdrawal is easy. The money is already in my bank account. But my play is for 2.9x, so almost 3 to 1 on your money. Robert Williams over 1.5 first quarter rebounds. They said that Robert Williams should be starting today, so I like that one a lot. I like Robert Williams over 7.5 rebounds, but I think this game has blowout potential, so I don't want to be in a full game with Robert Williams because he might be one of the first guys who starts taking a break. And then Kyle Lowry over 4.5 assists so far this postseason. Every game that Kyle Lowry has played over 23 minutes, he's hit this, except one. The one that he hit, they were up by 22. It was an absolute blowout. I mean, the one by 22 was the blowout. Like, he didn't need to do anything. I think he scored like, what was it, 30-something points. So Kyle Lowry over 4.5 assists. Robert Williams over 1.5 first quarter rebounds.
Sounds good.
I like that.
Absolutely. And again, if you're in a state where you can get the sleeper app, which I'm not, I might move to a state just so I can get the sleeper app. Absolutely take advantage of that. Take advantage of the bonus. So thank you to Sleeper. Thank you to Pickett Sports. Brad, Brian, anything else?
No, that's all I got.
No, soccer bet first half, Manchester City -1 on the corner handicap.
I don't know. Are we going to be on tomorrow? I guess if we're not, we'll just get this in. We were talking about this before the show, Brad, the over for PGA, make the cut, that number to the winner, I think at 271.5 is the number. It's going to be a tough course, right? PGA.
Yeah. I think you have to bet the over, especially like I was thinking about to all the interviews that I've been listening to, like these pros are talking about this course like open conditions, like the hardest course they've ever played.
Wow. All right. On that note, we will be back hopefully tomorrow. Good luck with all your plays. Thank you to Pickett. Thank you to Sleeper. And we will see you tomorrow.